you've written a couple of letters to the editor. One of them I've got in front of me, and you say that you're worried because the Chetco Library Board of Directors voted to reject the expulsion of sexually graphic child grooming books. And I'm just wondering, what are those books and where are they located?
Well, that is part of the problem with the public library, is that they've created a different type of numerical system to put them into in the format of the children's literature. So they've gotten quite creative. The books are a combination of being sexually graphic, like genderqueer, which actually goes through an assorted type of dilemmas that a child would run into, but it's all in this one book. From oral sex to there's a picture of a man and a boy, in the Namba type of, sexualizing children at a younger age. Some of the books are they may not have a lot of pictures in them, but they give instructions to kids like girls that they can use their body to earn money.
Why is the change that the library made in their coding system, how does that get these kinds of books in the hands of kids? Would they still be?
The coding system is just the way they can intermittently put them in a graphic novel versus we had some books that were graphic about drag queens in the baby section where their mothers would read to them. They're not learning. They're pornography. Like one of the books was called The Black Flamingo. It's about a child coming out, and it doesn't come out in a good way. He goes out and he is a exhibitor. He goes and does shows. So it's not the type of book you want your children to read as children. I mean, I don't even find that entertaining as an adult, to see how the corruption of these books are intended to mislead children that they'll have a happier life. Transgender being a big one, saying that there's more than two genders. I mean, it's just insane, and it's very difficult for parents of Christian families saying the mother, the father, and then you've got them saying, oh, you can't, names and genders, and there's multiple, 72 genders. We just want to confine the confusion. We don't want to throw them out. We don't want to burn them as they accuse us of doing. We just want a safer environment for our children to browse through the library, look at books, and not be sexually indoctrinated on aspects of the LGBTQ and drag queen and, just Wiccan. They also introduced Wiccan in some of these books. It's just, I mean, if there was any kind of time to not raise a child, this is going to be the most troubling, because they are fighting us as part of we're trying to stomp down free speech. We're not asking that. We're just asking that the books be appropriate for the child who's going to open them. Not all of them are ready for sex advanced books.
But isn't that your job as a parent? I mean, I always read all of the books that my kids read. I was pretty good at making sure that I knew what they were reading.
Well, if you were to go, we asked that too. How many parents actually read the books? Do they even know what the books are that their child are reading? The children that complain to the parents, that's how they know. I mean, they're being told this is normal behavior. Sexual is normal. Yes, but oral sex in a child's book is not normal.
I agree with you. Oral sex in a child's book isn't normal. I'm just wondering if maybe some adult books have been picked up by kids, because the reality is we do live in the world that we live in, and there are people who are gay, there are people who are queer, there are people who are transgender, and the library, to me, would be a resource of finding information if that was something I was looking for. I agree.
No, I agree if they kept to the science of transgender, but you can't make a baby out of a man's pelvis. That
wait. So they know it sounds to me like. Well, wait. I want to hear you, but I want to ask the question. Okay. So it sounds to me like one of the things that you're upset about is actually the books that are in the library, the books that have been chosen to be in the library. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know if there was a chosen part of it. What is in the library, where we were told the books were there before the librarian that was there retired, or she left. I think she was ill. But we did our own research, and we found out there was a ton of more books after she left than there was before. So, yeah, there's always been odd books, and there are some adult books that are in the children's reading. And, I don't know how they can justify that, but if you look at other school districts, what we have in our adult section is being pushed as child reading. We haven't gotten there yet on some of these books, but some of the more filthy books are in the library. But
Kellie, there have been filthy books in the library forever. I mean, there's always been filthy. I mean, at different times, different books.
How to perform anal sex? What kind of sexual positions? Really, for children? I doubt that.
No, I don't know. I don't think I'm not in and that's the thing that I'm shocked about, that you're saying that you're seeing these things in children's sections.
Well, children, I consider anybody under 15 years old. I mean, before they can start driving, there are books that are very deviant in how the body is to be used, and it is not a matter of love. This is a matter of just sexual.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
Well, I would like to say that the transparency of the library, every minute that we were there, we gave our concerns, and they never quoted us properly. They never came to the actual things that we were wanting done. The minutes are, if you read back, it sounds like Kellie complained here, Athena said this. But if you really want to find the contents of our complaint, you have to go inside the library and pull the documents for that meeting to see what we actually said, because they don't want our complaints verbal. They don't want it out there. And that's the scariest part of all. Their lawyer told them that they could hide it in the folder, and that's perfectly okay. And if you have nothing to hide, why would you do that to people that have concerns about the library, who support the library, whose taxpayers' money goes to that library? We should have a voice, and we don't. And I think that's what's wrong with our board of directors.
Well, we do have a voice because there is a board and there's an election coming up. So that's definitely so.
We're pushing really hard for change. We need change, and that's
what happens. What happens if you don't get change, Kellie? Are you going to continue with your?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This isn't something I can drop. I believe this is something that is beyond just a book. This is the morality of our community here. If we allow this bill to be distributed to our children without parents having a say, then we are becoming a communist country. We have no say on how our children are raised. We don't get to say how we want them vaccinated or not. And now we can't tell them if we want them to read filthy books. We got to take our library back. And if it doesn't happen this election, I'm going to be the pain in the butt that's going to be there every meeting and try to get them to discuss it with me, because they've been hard-hearted and hard-headed.
So, Carol, I just want to ask you, I understand that you are part of a group that is looking to maintain the status quo at the library. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on and what you're doing and what your role is?
Yes. I'm campaign manager for the incumbent library board members, and so far we're just distributing flyers and talking to people if they want to talk. Initially, the three opposition candidates, it was a bit hard to take them seriously. I didn't think that people would buy into what they're saying, and they say things that are obviously untrue or have no basis in fact at all. The most recent one was there's a statement which Julie Rutherford, the current library director, put on the library's website by Kellie Evans, who is part of the push to put in, the three other people that are running for board of directors. There's a statement that says the library is operating at a deficit. It's easy to find out that this is not true. In fact, I think you can access all the budget information through the library website. So it seems as though as we're getting closer to the election that they're willing to say things that are easy to disprove, but they're hoping people will believe them.
So what do you think the agenda is? Why do you think they want to replace the current board?
Well, their stated reasons began with they're wanting to censor certain things from the library under the banner of, protecting children from, things that they thought were inappropriate. Actually, the library is not a threat to children, and they do good things for children.
One of the things that Kellie told me is that she has found adult books in the children's section, and that there are grooming books, sexually grooming books that are available to kids. Do you know anything about that?
Well, it's not true. They're not in the children's section. I have heard reports of their people putting things in the children's section in order to make it look like there are inappropriate materials in the children's section. So it's just not true. They seem to think that any material which has any content that's LGBTQ is somehow sexual in nature by definition, but of course that's not the case. The library is merely trying to be inclusive, like accepting of different kinds of people. There is no effort to encourage anyone to be other than they are. So under this sort of banner of morality and Christianity, they hope to gain control of what is available in the library, but they're wildly exaggerating the situation to make it look like there's this active intention to somehow lead young people astray, and it's just not true. The book clubs, they talk about books. It's not about sex. They are the ones who keep repeating the idea that this is about sex. And that's not anything to do with the library's mission. There is no effort to, particularly have any focus on sex. That is their focus, and they keep repeating this, and I think they're trying to scare people and make them think that somehow children who are vulnerable and who we all want to protect are in danger from the library. And that's a terrible thing, because the library does the children of this community a lot of good. Do you remember during COVID when we had the library giving away activity bags for children?
I do.
This was funded by a grant that was obtained, or possibly a number of them that were obtained by the youth librarian. They were put together by the youth librarian and volunteer members of the community for children. So this idea they're trying to spread, this hysteria that they're trying to generate, that somehow children are in danger, it's nonsense. I mean, it's about as plausible as, saying, oh, protect the llamas or protect the koala bears. There's no threat, but they're trying to invent one and frighten people and get them to believe this. And I don't know what their true motive is. If they get 3 people onto the library board, then they have a deciding vote. They have 3 out of 5. If they did, I know that is their goal, but why that's their goal, I'm not entirely sure. They have these ideas about how they're going to use the library funding, and they're airing these ideas, but the board doesn't control the funding. The board doesn't decide how the money gets to be spent. The director and assistant director are the ones who do that.
Well, one of the things that Kellie told me, and I did speak with Kellie Evans, one of the things that she told me was that there's a new kind of way to organize the books in the library, that it's not the same system that it has been, and that as such, there have been books that she believes should be not marked for kids that are in the kids section. Do you know anything about that?
I think mostly they were troubled about things that actually had pictures, and there were things. The graphic novels are combined. I don't work in the library. I am not, a daily user. I'm not terribly familiar with the layout, but graphic novels, I believe, the adult and teen graphic novels are combined somewhere, but it's not in the children's section.
I see. So that might have been where she got that, because if adult and teen are in the same section, it may be that there's some more provocative graphic novels that maybe are inappropriate for teens in that area. Could that be what she's referring to?
I'm afraid I don't know, but I do know that in particular, a book that they were intent on banning, which is called Genderqueer, which is kind of somebody's life history in graphic novel format, that was never in the children's section. That was in the graphic novel section.
The children. What is the parents' role with regard to all of that? How do you feel about parents and their role in the library?
Well, I'm certainly all for parents deciding how their children learn about sex. And I think that's part of the parent's role. So compared to what kids see on television, on the internet, they're telling us that the library is a threat. It doesn't come close. And if you're so worried that your child is going to be contaminated by something that includes a gay character, then go with your child to the library and make sure that they don't, look at those things. But good luck trying to police them 24 hours a day. The worst things they're going to find are going to be on television and on the internet. And I don't know how you constantly guard against that. I kind of wish we could. I don't like some of the stuff that, is out there. I don't even have a television. I can't take it. I can't even take the commercials. It's just there's just too much, I don't know, too many unpleasant things.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about what's going on at the library, or what your intent is with your campaign?
Oh, just to try to keep the library from being destroyed, to keep it from, from no longer having a library. Right now, it has really good programs, especially for children. There are a lot of them. It's a really good resource, especially for people with kids. And it's education. It's supposed to be the democratic ideal of education. This is like cornerstone, This is really important. And when schools are having problems, we'll say, behavior is not really controlled in schools. Children that are shy or that are not aggressive get marginalized. They have the library to go to. And if we take that away, then our educational, fabric, the groundwork that young people need to find out what they're interested in and to be something and do something in the world, more of it goes away. And I'm afraid of what's going to happen to the library if they do get 3 people on the board. I hope they don't, but if they do, I don't know if we're going to have a library.
Well,